Hello and welcome to the Richmond Speech and Language Therapy Talk About Talking Parent Information Talk. This is a presentation for parents and carers of children with language and communication difficulties. In this course, we will cover the following areas. We will explain how the Richmond service works. We will talk about how communication skills typically develop, and we will give you some strategies to support different areas of the child's communication that you can implement today. We will talk about how to add these strategies into your daily routines and add special time into your day. What to expect if your child is offered speech and language therapy sessions. We are a consultative service, which means we work in partnership with you for your child's communication. As you can see from this diagram, the child is in the middle, and the environment and parents are around the child because they are the greatest influence on the child's communication. We, as speech and language therapists, are on the outside, and we facilitate the communication development through developing strategies with parents that can be used to support their child's communication throughout the day in a natural environment. We use the example of thinking of us as a personal trainer at the gym. We can recommend and show you what to do, but unless you put in the hard work outside of the sessions, you won't see the positive difference. Communicating isn't just about language. There are other skills you need to successfully communicate. We, as speech and language therapists, present this in a communication pyramid. Although all skills involved in communication are developing at around the same time, you will still see that there are foundation skills that need to be in place to support other areas of communication. We can think of this when we think of a baby and what skills they developed first of all in their communication before they even started talking. We'd like you to pause this presentation now and have a think about all the skills that you think are involved in communication other than talking. We are now going to talk about all the areas involved in communication and how they are presented in the communication pyramid, thinking about foundation skills at the base of the pyramid. First of all, a child needs the opportunity, a reason, and the motivation to interact. Then we have attention and listening. This area underpins everything. A child needs to be able to attend to the language they hear in order to learn it. Next, we have interaction and play. Interaction being the non-verbal communication skills that we use to support our verbal communication, for example, eye contact. Play develops social skills and is the window into your child's understanding. Understanding is next and is the bridge to talking. A child needs to understand the language that they hear before they are able to use it themselves. Talking is about how many words your child has and how many words they are using. And then we have pronunciation, which is how these words are being said. So thinking about how their speech sounds are produced. But this really is the cherry on the top. I'm now going to go into each area on the communication pyramid in more detail, paying attention to some developmental norms. Attention and listening skills. Attention skills are developing from an early age. However, children are very easily distracted and they need adult support to help them focus their attention. For example, a child up to the age of 3 may be playing with an activity and then hear the doorbell. They would then forget about the activity and require adult support to go back to that same game. By the time a child is 4, we expect their attention skills to be more integrated, in that they would be able to listen to an instruction at the same time as completing an activity. It is important to note that visual things are generally easier for children to attend to, and this is because visual things are much more concrete and they stay there as opposed to language, which is more abstract. We would also like to point out that the amount of time a child can attend to a TV programme for example, Peppa Pig, does not reflect their attention and listening skills, because a TV programme is constantly changing stimuli. As adults, we have learnt to block out background noise, but our children can have difficulties with doing this. Let's have a think about some of the distractions in the home which may impact upon a child being able to attend to the language.
For example, TV, mobile phones, tablets, and radios. Although we are not saying to stop using these technologies, we would just like parents to be mindful of the impact that these can have on distracting your child from the language that you are using for the activities that you are engaging them in.
Why is play important? Children learn about their world through play. For example, they learn cognitive skills about shapes and sizes and how things work, and they also learn motor skills as well as social interaction skills, for example, turn-taking and role play. Finally, they learn about language. They learn that a word can represent an object that they are playing with. Children learn through play more than in structured teaching when they are in their early years. Children learn best when they feel relaxed and happy, and then they are more likely to learn new words that map onto the things that they are interested in playing with. Play skills develop in stages, and as you can see from this visual, there are different stages of play that a child usually transitions through. Please feel free to have a look at this in your own time. The one thing we would like to highlight to you today is symbolic play. This is where the child is pretending that the banana is a telephone. And this stage is really important for language, as the child is understanding that one object can represent another in the same way that they are learning that a new word can represent an object. We typically expect this to happen at around 18 months. What are social interaction skills? This area includes non-verbal communication skills. A huge amount of what we communicate to each other is communicated non-verbally. A child may not have any words, but still be classed as a very successful communicator because they're making use of their non-verbal skills. For example, pointing, using eye contact, using gestures, or using facial expressions. This area of the pyramid is therefore really important. Another social interaction skill is a child's ability to share their attention with an adult on a particular object. For example, on an aeroplane in the sky. The child might point at the aeroplane and then look back to their parent and then back to the aeroplane to see if they're looking at the same item that they're looking at. Other areas of social interaction include the child's ability to take turns with others. These are in activities or later on in conversations. This area also encompasses whether a child is able to initiate interactions with other people and also how they use their language with others. For example, do they use their language to request, to label? Do they use it to make comments about things they can see? These all come under the area of social interaction. Why is understanding important? Understanding is the bridge to talking. Children often understand much more than they can say. All children are different, but a typical 2-year-old may understand anything between 200 and 500 words, but then they would only be able to say around 50 single words. You are developing your child's understanding all the time by immersing them in the language around them. It's important that we continue to do this by labelling and commenting on the things that they are playing with. It's much better to be doing this than to be questioning their language by asking them what items are. We'll talk more about this in the strategy section. What do we mean by expressive language? When we think about talking, we think about how many words a child is using. All children are developing at different rates and have different strengths in different areas, but typically at 2 years of age, we expect a child to have around 50 single words. We're also thinking about how many words a child is putting together spontaneously in a sentence. For example, at 2 years of age, we expect children to be putting 2 words together, such as more milk, mummy gone, bye daddy. By the time a child is 3, we expect them to be putting 4 to 5 words together. In the next section, we talk about strategies to support with expanding your child's expressive language.
What do we mean by speech sound pronunciation? This refers to how clear your child's speech sounds to the listener. This really is the cherry on the top of the cake when it comes to communication, as the speech sound system is developing up until the child is about 7 to 8 years of age. This means that children are expected to have particular speech sounds errors at particular ages. For example, a 2-year-old may refer to a cat as a tat, and this is okay because it just means that the child is not yet developmentally ready to make the k sound. Similarly, a child may also refer to the sun as the dun at this age. We are mostly focused upon whether you as parents can always understand your child. It is important to have all the other areas of the pyramid in place before focusing on speech sounds. If you are still really concerned about your child's speech sounds only, then please look at the All About Sounds PowerPoint on our website after finishing this presentation. Now that we have covered all areas of the communication pyramid, please take a minute to have a think about your child's communication skills. Have a think about which areas you feel that they need the most support with, and then we will go on to strategies to support your child's communication. Now that we have talked about the communication pyramid and all the areas involved in it, we are now going to give you some strategies that you can implement with your child from today. These are likely to be things that you are already doing, and it's just good to know that they are the right things to continue with. We would like to reiterate at this point that parents would never cause their child to have difficulties learning language, but you are in the best position to make a difference in helping with the rate of their language development. Strategies to support your child's attention and listening skills. As mentioned earlier, visual things are far easier for a child to attend to than just words. For a child with attention difficulties, it might be helpful to try using a Now Next visual board. You can make your own one up at home just by drawing pictures. It can be helpful in building up your child's attention for less motivating activities. For example, if you wanted your child to engage in a story with you, but they were only motivated to engage with cars, you could draw on the Now picture a picture of a book, and then on the next picture a picture of the cars to show that Now story, next cars. Then, if they try to move on to the cars, you can show them the visual to show them that they need to attend to the story before the cars. You could also use a sand timer to show them how long they need to attend to the story before being rewarded with the cars. Make sure you put it at the level that your child is ready to work at. It may only be that they attend to the story for a minute, and that's the bigger achievement before getting their reward of the car. You can build this up over time. Another way to support your child's listening skills is through an interactive listening walk. When out and about, comment on the environmental sounds that you both hear. For example, I hear an aeroplane. I hear birds singing. This will help your child to develop their listening skills and also develop their ability to tune into the differences between environmental sounds. This will then have a knock-on effect with your child being able to better tune into the difference between speech sounds. For some children who generally demonstrate a good understanding of language, but don't always use their words, they may need an extra cue to talk. These may be children who take your hand and lead you to the things that they want, or they might go to the cupboard to get them themselves. This section is all about creating extra opportunities for your child to use their words. We recommend trying not to preempt what your child wants, and instead offer choices. For example, at breakfast, rather than getting out the items that you already know that they want, for example the juice, offer a choice. Say juice or milk, and show both items whilst they're in your hands. The child may point to the one they want, or they might say it, but even if they don't, they've had an extra opportunity to communicate. Another idea is engaging in an activity that your child can't do without your help, for example, bubbles. They might need your help to open the bottle or to blow the bubbles, in which case they can say, open, or you can model, open, or they might need help modelling, blow. Another idea would be putting motivating toys into a clear container that your child can't open without your help. This is another opportunity for them to communicate to you that they need your help to open it. So they might say, open or help, or you can model these words for them. Another idea is offering a little bit of an item at a time. For example, instead of giving your child a whole biscuit, give them a little piece and then wait and see how your child communicates that they want some more. And then you can model more. Try these simple adjustments to your life to create an extra opportunity for your child to use their words in a functional way. To support your child's language development, we highly recommend implementing the 4 S's with your child throughout the day. The first one is slowing down. Children need time to process their language that they hear and to plan what they want to say. So feel free to give them that extra bit of time and slow down your rate of talking. The next one is show. As discussed earlier, visual things make language much more concrete. Use natural gesture Makaton signs, pictures, or objects to support the words you are using. For example, show them a sponge to communicate it's bath time alongside the word. The next one is say less. Cut out any unnecessary words. If your child is only using single words, model 2-word utterances to them rather than long sentences, as the child may have difficulties understanding and processing all these words. Think about the key words that you are trying to communicate to your child. It's also important to put a stress on the particular key words to make them jump out and stand out to your child. Try implementing the 4 S's next time you're playing with your child. What we would like to show you now is how you can support your child to learn new words. You're about to see a video of someone saying something in a foreign language. In this case, it is German. We would like you to watch the video and see if you can guess what the person is saying.
Ich habe Zahnschmerzen.
Following on from that video, did you have any idea of what she was saying as a non-German speaker? You might have been trying to map your language onto it, and if you were, this is how we would learn foreign languages. Do you have any idea how many words it was? Could it be one long word or lots of single words? It's hard to tell at this point. Let's watch the second video to help you get more of an understanding of what is being said.
Ich habe Zahnschmerzen.
Following on from that video, do you now have more of an idea of what was being said? You might have noticed that she was conveying something that she was not happy about, and she told us this through her facial expression. This links with the social interaction area of the pyramid, in which we know that a lot of our communication is non-verbal. Okay, so now we know it's something that she's not happy about, but we don't know exactly what that is. So let us play another video and see if we can get any further.
Ich habe Zahnschmerzen.
Following on from video 3, hopefully you have now worked out that she has got toothache. How did you know? It was probably from her gesture as she was holding her jaw, and also, as worked out earlier, on her facial expression to suggest that she was unhappy about something. Again, both of these areas link back to non-verbal communication, and therefore the social interaction part of the pyramid. So now we know what she's saying, even though we don't speak German, and this is what we call contextual understanding. This is how we all learn our first language. We look at the non-verbal cues and work out what is being said. We don't yet know any of the individual words, so we can use our non-verbal interaction to reply, if needed, for example, using a sympathetic facial expression. From looking at that video, you might not have been able to work out the individual word for tooth. So now we're going to show you a final video and see if you can spot the word for tooth.
Ich habe Zahnschmerzen.
After watching that final video, hopefully you worked out that the word for tooth in German is Zahn. You have now learned a new word. But what helped you get that word? As you can see from the video, the lady was slowing down her talking, pausing before and after the word, which made the word jump out from the rest of the sentence. She pointed to her tooth at the same time as she said the word, and she emphasised and put stress on the word. This links with the 4 S's that we talked about earlier. So this is what we want you to try at home with your child. It may feel a little strange at first, and you may need to keep in mind to go slow or to show, for example, but over time it will get easier. Share it with other adults in the household so they can do the same. You can integrate all the strategies we have talked about into your daily routine. For example, at breakfast or at snack time, you can offer choices. When getting ready in the morning, you can try saying less. Rather than saying, "Now, where are your socks? Let's put your socks on," you could just say, "Socks on." When going for a walk to the park, you might engage in a listening walk and talk about the sounds that you can hear in the environment. At bath time, you could stress key words, such as wash your nose, wash your ears. And then at bedtime, you could practice going slower by reading a book at a slower pace than usual, or singing a nursery rhyme slowly so that your child has the chance to process the language in the song. For some children who are stuck at a particular stage with their talking, for example, they might be saying one-word utterances and you want them to start saying 2 words, or if they are saying 2-word utterances, you might want them to start saying 3 words. We recommend expanding, which means exactly that, adding an extra word onto what your child says. So, for example, if your child says car, then you could say red car, or big car, or push car. This just shows them that you've acknowledged the word that they said, and you're showing them how to add to it. We know it can be difficult to find the time, but children really benefit from one-to-one special time with a parent with no distractions. Even just 5 minutes a day, a few times a week, will make a difference. Let your child choose the activity that they want to play with, and then follow their lead with the play, whilst trying out some of the strategies we've talked about to support their language development. When engaging in special time with your child, it's really good for your child to choose the toy they want to play with, and for you to let the child lead in that play and in that interaction. If children are playing with something that they find motivating, they are more likely to learn alongside this and learn the language that they need to talk about the activity or about the toy that they are playing with. Children learn best when they don't feel under pressure, so comment on what they are doing rather than asking questions, and then it becomes language learning rather than language testing. For parents who are bringing up their child to be bilingual, we always encourage this. We say, be bilingual, be proud. And this is because lots of research suggests that being bilingual does not slow down language development, and if anything, it's an advantage. So we recommend talking to your child in the language you're most comfortable and fluent in, and then other languages will map on. This slide shows a new school support group that might be of interest to you. Skylarks is an independent Richmond-based charity providing activities and therapies to children and their families with extra needs. They have a really useful website with lots of resources. There is lots of different advice out there about speech and language therapy on the internet. So we wanted to highlight the websites which we feel will be useful for you to refer to in order to get advice about your child's speech and language. In particular, we wanted to highlight the BBC Tiny Happy People website. They also have an Instagram page that gives daily activities and ideas to support developing your child's communication skills. Now that we're coming to the end of the presentation, we wanted you to pause here and have a think about one thing that you want to transfer into your home setting. This might be something that you've already been doing but want to increase how often you do it, or maybe something that you want to share with your partner. It is good to have a think about it now and have a think about ways that you can integrate it into your daily routine so that it's more likely that you'll be able to do it. Thank you for working through this presentation with us today. We hope you found it a useful introduction into our service, and hopefully you'll be able to begin implementing some of these strategies with your child today. Remember, any daily mundane activities can be turned into language learning opportunities for your child. For parents who we advise we'll be in contact with for further input, please bear with us during this pandemic as our service will be reduced. Try out the strategies in this presentation and we'll be in touch in due course.